Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, everybody. This is Running Around Jerusalem. But today, we are not running around Jerusalem. We are in the agricultural lots behind the moshav of Nahalal, and we are here for a very special reason. This year is 100 years of Nahalal.
100 years.
Unbelievable. Michael, what are we doing here today?
So we're here thanks to the partnership between Arbor, Michigan and Nahalal, and we are here to showcase this amazing place of Nahalal, which most people know it might have been the first moshav.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But there's some really incredible stories here. We're going to hear those stories. We're going to see the beauty around here. We're going to meet the people. So come run with us.
Come run with us, guys. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and check us out on Facebook and talk to us. We would love to hear from you and continue to donate your dollars to your federations. It's very important what makes projects like this and others available. Let's go. So 100 years of Nahalal.
You got it.
So it was set up
1921.
1921.
Which, by the way, is the same year the first kibbutz was established over at Arbor as well.
So this isn't a kibbutz?
It's not a kibbutz.
So what's this?
So this is a moshav, which is also a communal living place. It was started by the same type of revolutionaries and radicals that started the kibbutzim. Okay, but there was one big difference. They didn't want everything totally to be shared and equal. Meaning that one, they wanted their own meshek, their own land.
Right.
And number two is that they wanted to receive payment based on what they put in. And that's the main difference between the moshav and the kibbutz. In the kibbutz, right, everyone gets the same salary.
Yeah.
Okay, here, based on what you produce, that's what you receive. And if you want to raise cattle in your land, or chickens, or farm wheat, you can do that. The kibbutz, or I should say the moshav, does not decide for you.
Okay.
So that was the main...
So it is communal living, slightly less socialist than how the capital is gained, and more freedom to where you want to go with your...
Exactly. They wanted the community,
your venture, basically.
But they wanted a little bit more individualism as well.
Okay, fine, very cool. So that's a moshav. And so this is the first moshav in Israel?
Yes.
Right, okay. So at the same time, pioneers buying up land, and then the moshav happened.
That's right.
And I noticed that this place is in a circle.
Yeah, and that's one of the most famous things about this place is it was designed by this architect, Richard Kaufman. We'll talk about the design later, but you look at it from above and it's in these concentric circles. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful the way it's set up. And you have the central buildings.
So it's really hard to keep a secret here, right?
Well, we're going to find out because we're at a place that has quite the secret.
This is Ofer, and Ofer is going to show us how you keep secrets in Nahalal. And this is a secret weapons cache, is that correct?
That's right.
And from what period are we talking about?
We're talking about from the British Mandate period, and we're talking about Ofer's family,
my grandfather.
Your grandfather that was involved in creating this whole thing.
Amazing.
And hiding it.
Let's show you what it looks like, and then we're going to tell the story. Let's have a little look.
There you go.
By the way,
yeah,
but for a meat lover, that's a kosher butcher shop.
Kosher butcher shop.
Right next to an ambulance, so after you have your heart attack, they can take you there.
So you literally cows, butcher shop, ambulance, like you're done. You got the whole route.
Exactly, except these cows are not slaughtered in the
All right, wait. You have to tell me the story. You have to tell me the story. We met Ofer and his amazing weapon cache.
Yeah.
So what is this place?
Okay.
Help me out here.
So Ofer's grandfather.
Right.
And by the way, this is something we're going to talk about that what's really cool about this place is that the people who live here, most of them are from the original families.
Right.
So Ofer's grandfather was approached by someone from the Haganah and said, "We want to hide weapons on your farm here, on your meshek."
And he said, absolutely not.
Well, no, he said absolutely. Because go
Okay,
back in
fine.
time. It's a British mandate period. Jews
Right.
are not allowed to have guns
Right.
or carry weapons, but they have to have them to defend themselves. Some from the Arab revolts and riots and other reasons, right?
Bandits around the area, whatever you get, right?
They
Okay.
need to defend themselves, but it's illegal.
It's
So
illegal,
what the
okay.
Haganah did is they spread this stuff out all over the place and hid it underground and other things. So
Okay.
the problem is, how do you build a massive underground slick, which is what they call them,
Sleek. Okay. Yeah.
in a community that everybody knows everyone else's business,
Right.
and right in the nose of the British?
Right.
So
And you also got to dig out a whole.
a huge massive
how you
pit,
gonna do this, right?
How you gonna do it? So his grandfather was genius in this because he's a farmer. He's like, I'll make a big urine pit.
Okay.
Ever heard of a urine pit?
I've not heard of a urine pit.
Okay. Well, so it's a way of they use the urine, which has ammonia in it, in order to fertilize the fields.
We're talking about cow urine.
Cow urine.
You're not standing there
Right,
every day.
and there was a guy at the time period who was proposing that you make these urine pits for fertilizer.
I see.
And so he's like, I'm gonna dig a big urine pit. So he gets these workers from Haifa to come in and dig out this huge pit. They think they're digging a urine pit. That's the first problem, is that all the neighbors were mad at him because you're getting outside workers.
Moshav politics,
Exactly.
baby. Come on.
Exactly.
We're bringing outsiders. What is this? We should work together. I love it.
So
Okay.
hold your pee a moment, because we actually, speaking of cows, have come to a robotic farm. I'm going to interrupt it. Guess you just have to stay on to find out the rest of the story. But we're here, we have the robotic dairy, which I know a lot of the mishlachot, a lot of the
Robotic what?
a robotic dairy where they produce milk from the cows.
Do you have any idea what he's talking about? I got nothing. A
They
robotic
do, because if they've been on some of the delegations from Ann Arbor,
Yeah.
they've come here and seen it.
Okay, I have no idea what this is. I'm excited to see. Are you excited to see? Let's go see what it is.
Let's go see what we're talking about here. He's literally going to go bring a cow for us so that we can demonstrate this milking system.
How do you actually bring a cow? I don't know. He didn't even do anything. He's just like, yalla. Off she goes.
They know him.
Oh my word. You need to see this. It's unbelievable. And what's hilarious is that cows...
The cow goes right into the
Right into
machine.
the thing, and they're completely content. So there's a chip on the cow's collar, and the machine identifies what cow is in the machine at that point and knows how much milk she should have, how much milk she should have from each other separately. It sends an online update to his phone saying the cow gave the proper amount, or it's too low, or maybe something's wrong.
And there's another piece to this too.
Yeah.
Because they're able to track how much each cow gives,
Yeah.
then they know which are also the cows that are the best in order to produce new cows.
Right. And Michael, you having a joke with him that he doesn't even remember how to milk cows anymore because the whole thing just happens by itself.
But as he said, you don't forget how to milk cows.
Yeah, I've heard. How much is one of these machines?
100,000 euro in Israel.
So I've seen the robotic cows. I want to go back to what we were discussing. So Offer's grandfather, he dug a pit and he said, okay, we're going to make a urine.
A urine pit,
A urine pit for
and that
fertilizers,
was
right?
the cover in order to be able to create this slick where they're going to hide weapons.
And he really got into moshav politics because he brought in outside workers.
Yeah, exactly, and he had to keep this secret from the people. There were few people in the moshav who knew about it because they had to help him load the weapons from the trucks to the slick,
Right.
like in the middle of the night.
I see.
But can you imagine keeping that secret from a place where everything is open?
Sure.
It's
I mean, there
insane.
really are like no fences here or anything like that. It's, everything is completely open plan, if you like, in a certain sense.
But by the way, the people from this moshav were good at keeping secrets. There were these operations that happened during the later time of the British Mandate and up through World War II.
I see.
Called Aliyah Bet, which is where.
Okay, second aliyah. Yeah.
Yes. Well, no.
No.
That's what it literally means. But it's not one of the waves of immigrations. What it was a secret operation to smuggle Jews in from Europe here into Palestine.
I see.
And because the borders were closed, no one was allowed in. But there was an organization created called the Mossad Aliyah Bet, the Mossad, which is later what it became.
I see.
Okay, and they started by smuggling Jews into the land of Israel. There were 110 agents.
We're
right here. We're good. We're
good.
good.
Okay.
There were 110 agents. Mossad Aliyah Bet. 10 of them came from Nahalal. 10 of them alone.
I see.
It just gives you a taste of who some of the people were. I got another great story about Ofer's grandfather that we'll say after this
Why
message.
do you keep interrupting the stories?
Because this place, as you see, is so small that you just get from one place to another. And we're now at one of the other mesheks of one of the other families here.
Yes.
Who has more animals.
And again, you can see, I'm just going to slow down for a second. As you've noticed, everything is constructed in the same way. That there's the street, there's the houses, and there's the agricultural plot of land. It's all going that way.
Exactly. This was part of the whole master plan. I like to come in here too because, you know, we're just running around the circle. You kind of just see things from the outside, but we get to go in and out of these different mesheks and these different places, and you really see some of the places that people live and what they have back here. It's amazing.
Yeah. So you decided to tell me the story about Ofer's grandfather before you interrupted me again. So what's the story? What's the story? What you got?
Do you like dates?
I do like dates. A big fan.
I mean the fruit that you eat.
Yeah, I'm married.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't go on dates with your wife?
I mean, we do. As has been established, we're running around Jerusalem.
Y'all go mountain climbing together. Or
we go mountain climb. We go running together. We go out for cocktails and eateries. But I do like dates the fruit as well because it's an excellent pre-running fuel.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the story of how they got the date trees that we use in Israel today has to do with Ofer's grandfather. So
how the date tree arrived in Israel to do with Ofer's grandfather? Okay, this is a good one. Right, here we go.
So the deal is that, again, he worked for the Mossad Aliyah Bet, smuggling people in, but he also was sent to North Africa to work there, and he ended up working in Iraq and Iran area, where that's where they took the date trees from.
I see.
And he is involved in the operation where they smuggled in tens of thousands of these seeds in order to get it, they had it across the Iraqi border into Iran, which at the time was controlled by the Shah, so it was friendly to Israel. And from Iran, they smuggled them into Israel, and that's where we started with the whole date project that we have here.
But we can't buy? Why do we have to smuggle? I don't understand the concept.
Because they're looking for the date trees that are the
specific ones
that are meant for this particular region.
Right.
And until actually about a year ago, we didn't have any of the ancient Judean dates. We do actually now. They're growing them in Kibbutz Keturah down in the south. From a 2,000-year-old seed, but that's another
so
story.
we needed the correct type. I see, and different areas need different types. That's what we're going with. Excellent, cool.
That's right.
What I've noticed around us is that there are some new houses. I've seen a few, but in the main, they mostly look like the traditional houses. So, and with little bits of add-ons. Like I think this one on the left is like the old house, and they're just adding on bits and pieces. So some of them are literally the old ones.
But keep in mind, again, that when you go back to the
original
moshav,
houses of 1921?
Well, no, I mean,
no.
Yes and no. One of the cool things here about Nahalal is that the families that still live on the Meshek tend to be the original families that were here. There are a few exceptions here and there, but most of them are the same. And this is very rare when you get to a moshav. And the way this was designed, it was designed by the architect Richard Kaufman, and he comes here to meet with the founders in 1920. Okay, again, this moshav starts in 1921. Okay,
yes.
And I can just picture this meeting. He's sitting there, they're telling him what they want.
In the middle of nowhere.
And they come up with, he comes up with this plan where the center of the ring is going to be the public buildings or the things that everyone needs, like the school,
the post office, the central secretary,
or
all the bits, all the admins,
or the synagogue.
Okay.
So he meets with with these families that want to establish this place, and he gives us this master plan of this
circular moshav, right? Yeah.
And what happens is that they want all the public buildings in the middle, and then around that you have this ring.
Yes.
And then you have the houses. So everyone is equidistant from the services in the middle.
We seem to have passed where we're supposed to be going, so we're going to turn around. It's fine. No one notices. It's all good. It's all good.
Getting
Okay, fine.
lost in Nahalal, which is in a circle.
Getting lost in Nahalal. It's similar to running in Nahalal. It's just slightly different. Okay.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
Kaufman, so you're sitting there in the middle of nowhere and they're planning out.
They're planning out this place, and people love it. It's amazing because everyone's equidistant from the center. They all have
Yes.
this meshik. It's this beautiful concentric circles. What's the one problem?
I don't know. What is the one problem? I haven't thought about the problem.
How do you expand? There's
do you
no
expand?
possible way to expand.
Because oh, I see.
If people want to stay here,
You have to
live,
add another circle. It's the only way to go outwards, basically.
yeah, and that's the big problem.
So when we saw the new houses right at the bottom, it's literally what they're doing. They're just adding another circle outwards.
Yes, but think about it. It took them until 5 years ago to do that. And,
Right.
and I can just imagine the meeting right now that Kaufman's sitting there telling them about this place, and they say, but there's one problem. What about if our families want to live here? And
Are we in the right place, Michael? So we're not at 65, we're 66.
We're
we need
66,
65.
so it gives me a chance to finish the story.
Good.
Okay, great.
That was
So-
all intentional. Right, fine. Getting
So
lost
I can
twice.
just imagine they're sitting there, and and they're like, well, how do we expand this place?
Yeah,
And he says, Tim Suder, you guys will find a way.
work it out.
And think about this, all these like hardcore pioneers, I can just imagine, we'll find a way, no problem,
find a
let's do it. When do they finally find a way?
60 years later.
60 years later.
Right. That is quite fun. Okay. So we think we're in the
Let's
right
try this
location
again. We think
now.
we're in the right location.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Eventually we'll find the right place where we're supposed to be going. Incredibly, everything's in a circle and yet we're somehow still getting lost. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, so this was a lul, they call it the tsarif.
So
Okay.
Lul is a chicken coop.
Yes.
Yes.
If you were part of the first delegation from Ann Arbor,
Right.
then Ofer Avidan hosted you guys here.
This is the first place they came to. When the first Ann Arbor mission came here,
They came here.
They came to the
It was
chicken
a
coop.
lul. He turned it into a museum about the history of Nahalal. And
see.
there's really cool things inside, so why don't you come in, we'll see some of the stuff.
okay. I actually today work in a chicken coop that has been turned into a WeWork space. So chicken coops have been turned into all kinds of various little things. We possibly may go there one day, but yeah, chicken coops around agricultural towns in Israel have been turned into various different weed projects.
You know, I worked in chicken coops on kibbutz
yeah, I
Be'er
can
Yitzhak,
smell it from now.
and that's why I have no sense of smell.
Let's talk about the partnership between Ann Arbor and Nahalal a little bit. Can you give like a good example of how this shows itself? Like what?
Great example. Well, two, really. One, we're going to see at the end. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
Okay, I'm not going to give a spoiler. But the other one is, I had a great conversation with this woman, Dorit Mettler.
Yes.
Who, again, the family has been in Nahalal since the beginning.
Generations, right.
Okay, and she told me this incredible story how someone from one of the families from Ann Arbor
Yes.
had a son who, he was kind of on the wrong path in life.
Okay.
And
Hadn't quite found himself yet, as we
yeah,
say.
left
Yeah.
home at 17, moved across the country, hadn't really found himself.
Right.
And they really wanted to do something to kind of snap him back into it. And they're like, oh, we should send him to Israel to go and serve in the army,
I see.
in the IDF. And so what did they do? They caught up the partnership. And they said, hey, we have a 17-year-old boy. We want to send him over here. Can you guys host him? Can you take care of him?
I see.
This wasn't a planned program. There was no program for send your troubled youth to us so we can straighten you out in the army.
Right.
It was community to community, friend to friend, family to family. And she tells me, Dorit tells me, that on the day that this boy arrived,
Yes.
her son actually left on his journey across the world.
I see.
And it was like she was losing her
Exchanging
son,
son for a
exchanging
son,
sons,
right.
and he was like a son to her. And apparently he really thrived. He became an excellent sniper in the army,
Very good.
and it was life-changing. And the families are still in touch with each other and together today.
That's an excellent example how, even without necessary planning and programming, once you have those connections, those communities, it kind of just works together.
Exactly.
I absolutely adore that. So what's our next port of call?
We're going to the synagogue.
Aha!
You should have a question about this.
This
Nahalal was established
this is
by
clearly a secular
revolutionaries.
place.
Clearly a secular place. What do they have a synagogue for?
What do they have a synagogue for?
It's not like the synagogue was built in the last couple of years. This is one of the
Right, you can
oldest-
see this has been in the centre of town since the beginning, effectively.
What happened is when the original families, their parents and other family members started to come over from
Right.
Eastern Europe, they wanted a synagogue. And so they set up the synagogue here. The rabbi that they brought here to the moshav in order to serve as a rabbi, his son and grandson still live here today.
Very clearly evidence of a synagogue.
Yeah, the bar mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs still happen today,
Exactly.
which is another story of the guy who teaches them all today.
So you're saying this community was built in a circle, so it's got kind of an equal feeling.
Yeah.
Not only that, they built one of the central, because we're in the centre, obviously we're on the outside now, we're in the centre where the communal buildings are.
You guys with us? All right, let's keep going.
They built a central synagogue just for their previous generations out of respect, even though they're not necessarily so into synagogue. They wanted to continue with the community feel, and so they built a synagogue
Yeah.
anyway. So let's discuss the rabbi a little bit. What are we
His
saying?
name is Zechariah Cohen. He immigrated to the land of Israel from Taiman, from Yemen.
From Yemen,
By
okay.
foot.
By foot?
He comes over
That's
here.
quite far, you know.
I know. He comes over here, and he's living in another town nearby.
I see.
And they bring him over here in order to be the rabbi of the moshav. So he comes from Yemen
Yes, by foot.
by foot.
It's quite far.
But he's really into the whole agriculture thing
I
in
see.
the country, and so they bring him over in order to be the Rav Moshav, and he's considered this unifying figure. In fact, later on in his life, he becomes the head rabbi of all the rabbis of all the Moshavim
see.
around the entire country.
Oh, wow. Okay, and you're saying that his son and grandson still live in Nahalal as
They
well?
still live here. His son is in his 90s and still reads Torah every Shabbat.
I see. So
At the synagogue.
the quorum of 10 men here in Nahalal still occurs.
Yes. However, we're going to pause that story
We're going to pause that story.
because we have another incredible thing we have to see. We'll
I
finish it when we get there later. What do you see ahead of us?
I see kind of statue. I mean,
So
and
this
there's a
is
stone with some names, and I don't
this
know.
is the elementary school area, but this is the Andarta. This is the
So what's an
monument to the
Andarta?
fallen soldiers that
Right.
were from Nahalal.
I see. This is
and-
quite common in most towns, even smaller moshavim kibbutzim around Israel, is that you do get their local memorial of their fallen, correct?
Yes, but what's unique about this is a few things. First of all, it was designed and built by a local artist here in Nahalal. The way it's built is you see like the very muscular guy, okay,
Yeah.
attached to the stone. Why is he attached to the stone? Because one of the fallen was one of the rabbi's sons.
I
And
see.
he says, I don't want an image or a statue made.
I see.
And so he kind of said, okay, well, I'll attach
This was
to
a
the
compromise.
stone and make
Right,
it a little bit
okay,
different.
I see, I see.
And he's holding a thing that either could be a shield
Yeah.
or
Or,
a plow.
oh right, I see, of course. For
And
sure.
that combines everything you basically have here in Nahalal. You're talking about working the land, but also defending it.
I'm really outstanding though. Some of the stories that we keep hearing there's something very community driven about this place. Like we're gonna compromise on the memorial. We're gonna create a synagogue. We want everyone's feelings to feel attached to it. It really is like, hey,
You're revealing the picture of what is
if
Nahalal.
I was doing a partnership, I'd do a partnership with this place, so I'll tell you the truth. Right, okay,
There's
I really
one
get it.
other thing behind this memorial.
Literally behind?
You can look behind if you want. One of the interesting things about here in Nahalal is that 80% of the people here are somehow related to each other.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so what does that mean if you lose somebody? It means that the entire community
You're
is
losing
mourning.
potentially a friend and a brother and a
Exactly.
cousin. And, yeah, right.
Exactly. So the entire community is mourning over that. So, which is one of the other reasons you can see how it's so strong together. And speaking of the families,
Yeah.
we're actually going right now to the youth center. Okay, the
I see.
Moadon Noar, which used to be the dairy.
So this was originally the dairy.
Yeah,
We saw a bunch of
so-
dairies already today, so this was the original one.
Right. So the way it's set up is the guy who's working the dairy, he doesn't have his own plot and stuff, right? So
see.
what do? each of the main buildings like this or the school had a plot of 5 dunam where they were able to grow vegetables and fruits or whatever they wanted in order to supplement from whatever they needed from their business. That meant the rabbi had 5 dunams to work for him. The teacher had 5 dunams at the school to work for them.
And is now the local youth centre, the hangout
Got it.
spot. Let's go back to the synagogue. So you said the son of the original rabbi still reads from the Torah every
That's correct.
Sabbath.
Every Shabbat.
Wow.
So, but here's the thing: you don't get a minyan, the Quorum of 10, from Nahalal itself.
Right.
Okay. Now, unless you've got the Mishlachat, the delegation from Arbor,
Yeah.
because then you guys know that they always have things going on and nice kiddush there for you and everything.
Excellent.
Right? But what I did find out from the person, the gabbai of the synagogue,
Yes.
is that it's a synagogue for the whole area, essentially.
I
So
see.
you get people from the other moshavot and kibbutzim and
From all over the
areas
shop,
which
right.
don't have synagogues,
I
that they come
see.
here.
So it's
and
become a community centre for even larger than the
For
original
the whole
community.
valley,
Oh,
pretty
I love
much,
it. That's
area
brilliant.
valley,
Oh, that's
so.
fantastic. I'm really pleased about that.
And by the way, it's so in the same vein as the Rav that was here, Zechariah Cohen.
Yeah.
That again, he was this uniter. He wanted to work the land by himself. They actually told him, look, we'll supplement your salary. You don't have to work. He's like, no, I'm not going to take salary. I'm going to work the
You're gonna
land.
work land,
He
right.
was very connected to this.
So you said the gabbai of the shul. So he's kind of in charge, right? He sorts everything out. He's logistics. He makes everything happen, basically, right?
That's right. His name is Yuval Kadosh.
Okay.
So I'm sure if you're from Ann Arbor, you probably met him and seen him.
Right. I see.
Fascinating guy. His family did not start on the moshav here. He moved here, I think, about 30 years ago, is what he says.
I see.
So he's been here a while.
Oh, definitely a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair play.
But I asked him, so how is it you got the job of taking care of the shul? And by the way, he doesn't take care of the shul. He teaches everyone to do their bar and bat mitzvahs. He's the one that teaches all the kids.
To read.
To read the Torah,
I see.
what they need to know for the prayers, everything. And one of the amazing things is
So he's really become like a key figure here, huh?
he is, and everybody has bar bat mitzvahs here. It's a very popular thing. Everyone does it, which is, again, not normal for...
A completely secular place of living. It's like
said
an
it.
agricultural
You
place
said
of
it.
living. Right.
And he told me when he first started doing this job is that there weren't that many kids that did that.
Yeah.
But he's a schmoozer, and he talked to them and he convinced them. And when one kid starts doing it, everyone wants it afterwards. So
see.
it built and built, and he really.
He's a powerhouse. He makes things happen.
Right, and it shows you how one person really can impact the whole community there and bring it
Fabulous.
together.
I love it.
I asked him, how did you get into this? And whatever, he didn't really go into it, but then suddenly, out of nowhere in our conversation, he's like, so let me tell you how I started this.
Well, so I just want to pause you because here the growth of Ann Arbor, the growth of Nahalal is right in front of us, because here the agricultural plot ends, and then here are the new houses. There's one being built to my left, there's a couple to my right, and then I'm assuming the same system's going to continue again, and you're going to have another layer.
People want to stay here. The
Yeah.
families they're from here, they grew up here, they want to come back here, but there was no room.
Right,
And they
there's
had to
nowhere to
figure
go.
out how. So here's the question though. Here's another tangent, here we go.
We're going to finish the story eventually. Stay with us. Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, okay, when they built this new area,
Yeah.
how did you choose which family member got to stay here?
Oh,
If
gosh.
you have like 3 or 4 kids,
Oh, lovely. Oh, God. How do you choose? I
so
mean,
they did duels, and whoever survived, no, really. But really what they did, so
Papers
at
is
the
the rock,
beginning, it went to the Ben Bachor, meaning the firstborn son.
oh, right, okay.
It's very biblical in that
Yeah,
sense.
very traditional,
Okay,
exactly, yeah.
after that, they...
Are you sure this place is secular? It has lots of religious leading to. Yeah, go on.
They're like, this is like labor Zionism.
Yeah,
They're
it's
so
amazing.
connected to the land, so connected to their history.
Yeah.
That's what we have to remember about the Zionists, the early
Absolutely,
Zionists too.
absolutely.
It evolved, and it wasn't like that anymore. Now what it was is whoever wants to take care of the Meshach and be there. Like
Right.
that too, because not everyone wants to. Someone wanted to be a graphic designer or whatever, but occasionally you have a guy who wants to be here. By the way, the Avidov family, where they have the slick. So Shaul, who is the son of Ofer, okay, he's the one that owns the butcher shop there. He started actually a few months ago
See.
during COVID because he had nothing else to do there.
I see.
But he
So it's a
wanted
new
to very much
venture.
live here.
Oh, fabulous.
And he said something very powerful to me too. He says, you know, like a lot of people aren't necessarily in agriculture anymore, but he likes having stuff around because it's good for the kids. It gives them responsibility and something
Right.
to take care of.
The community, the education, the building, it's a good basis to go and stand up on.
Absolutely.
So let's go back a little bit further for a second.
Wait, do we want to finish with
I mean, are we going to finish
with
any
Yuval?
story?
Can we finish Yuval?
Go on then, let's finish Yuval.
So out of nowhere in the conversation, he throws this bombshell to me.
Right.
He's like, I'd first gotten here, and there was this like 90-year-old man who had like, you know, lived through World War I.
Wow.
And he came up to me one time and says, I've noticed you. I see you around, and let me tell you what your mission is here. Your mission here is to take care of that synagogue and to teach the kids how to be involved in it. And he's like, but like, I don't really know what am I doing here? He's like, no, I've seen you.
You must do it.
That's what your job is. And that's how I got into it.
So let's have a little bit chat about what was here originally. So this place is obviously a stunning moshav
Let's
today.
not get hit by a truck.
All right, I'm going to watch out for the truck. I'm going this way, I'm going this way, I'm going this way. I'm good.
Oh, there's a tractor now.
I'm fine, I'm
with
right.
big impaling things.
Ah, we're going to be fine,
Big impaling agents on that truck.
Okay. So what was on this plot of land? So when they were sitting around Kaufman and the original settings up of this place,
Right.
what was here?
This was swampland.
Actually
Swampland.
Okay.
And so much so that in the early years, you're talking about 40% of people of the settlers here that ended up with malaria.
Oh wow.
So
Okay, so swamp we're talking. We're not mucking around. Okay.
no.
Serious mosquitoes. So they had to drain this place because it's dry now. I mean, we didn't see anything which resembles a swamp these days.
That's right. So
Tell me a bit about that.
So there's this myth in Zionist lore,
Folklore, yeah.
folklore of how they drain the swamps. Do you remember? You heard this one before?
I have not. Go on.
Okay. That they planted eucalyptus trees everywhere.
Right.
That
No, I
drained
have
it
heard
off.
this one. Okay, fine.
Right. Total bogus.
So,
There were some places that actually tried that, but it didn't work. But totally bogus. Okay. What really happened is that here at Nahalal, which is we're talking about 1921.
yeah.
Okay. And the people at Nahalal, there was this professor
Yeah.
named Joseph Breuer. And he figured out what you have to do is you actually have to channel the water away from the area into the larger riverbeds that are going to then take it out towards the sea.
I see. So
Okay.
you're basically rechanneling, moving the water along, if you
Yeah,
like.
but in other places where they tried to do this, they dug these like open ditches in order to channel it, and it still was problematic.
I see.
What Breuer suggested, and what they ultimately did, is they produced these clay pipes. Like, we're talking about hundreds of kilometers worth of clay pipes.
Okay.
Which, by the way, were produced here at Nahalal.
Oh wow. So
So-
they built kilometers and kilometers of clay piping.
Yeah, but I want you to imagine this, okay? That it's Nahalal in the 1920s, all right? They're still living in tents here. In fact, they didn't start building the main houses and structures until 1935. So like 15 years, they're either living in tents or these little shacks like what we saw at the street.
Whoa. 1920 they have the meeting. 1921 they established the place. And then they only built houses in 1935?
Yeah.
What was happening between the years? Rega! So we're busy getting rid of all the water.
Yeah, I guess. So they're producing the pipes when they don't have any buildings yet or houses yet. Okay.
Yeah, living in tents producing pipes to get rid of water. Okay.
And so what
It's a
they
whole
did is
situation.
they would put these pipes in the trenches and they put them underground, and that's how they carried the water away. And it was all done like under the surface.
I see.
And it was this brilliant way of getting rid of the water. Now there's another water engineer that's going to come about 5 or 6 years later
I
to the
see.
land of Israel and help drain the swamps called the Kabara swamps, which were more towards the coast. And his name is Dov Kuplanov.
Okay.
But Breuer was really the first one that's doing this, and then he goes on. He becomes the head of Technion University. So this is a pretty smart dude.
So he had the great idea, and it worked.
You want to see? By the way, you want to see some of the pipes?
I most definitely do.
Because they have the pipes in the tree. There's a picture right there.
Ding! I love when you do your magic tricks. It's amazing. I don't know how you do it. One of the rounds we jumped through a fence. I don't know how you did that either.
I know. Check it out. Go
Okay. So this was really a swamp. They built all the piping to get rid of it. Amazing. Let's talk about some of the people that were around in Nahalal. Let's discuss this a wee bit. So, give me an interesting figure.
Okay. So, one figure I'll tell you about is this woman named Hannah Maisel Shochat.
Okay, Hannah Maisel Shochat. Okay,
yeah,
who's
she was born in Eastern Europe, and before she moved to the land of Israel, to Palestine, in the early 1900s, talking about well before Nahalal. Okay, she got her doctorate in agriculture.
I see.
I mean, I would think about this, people. We're talking about the very beginnings of the 1900s. She gets her doctorate
as a woman.
As a woman.
As a woman.
By the way, wheat field, beautiful, nice. Love the golden wheat field.
Something about tour guides and agriculture. They're obsessed with the trees and the wheat and.
You are at the wrong place to diss agriculture, my friend.
I can do all I want. I'm outside already. The thing's over there. I'm fine. I'm outside. I'm outside the circles. Okay, fine.
So Hannah Maisel, she goes to a place. This is a training farm called Chatzer Kinneret, which is right near where Tiberias is. But they had established a training farm there even before Nahalal, and she makes them give her part of it for a woman's training farm, and for just women to do the agriculture.
So she was decades ahead of her time.
Decades ahead. And you do not want
We're
to
not
mess
talking
with her.
years. We're talking decades.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Ultimately, what's going to happen is that after World War I, she's going to come back here, and she's going to end up being among the first 80 families in Nahalal. And she's going to set up. She raises this enormous amount of money. We're talking about like over $80,000 at the time in 1920 to establish this
huge amounts, right?
Yeah, to establish an agricultural school for women, which the buildings of which are still here in Nahalal today.
And wow!
It's like a youth village now.
Amazing figure. One of the first feminists, and then built on this whole feminist agriculture movement. I absolutely love it. Let's move on to someone else. Oh, he's across the water. Okay. Now that we're completely soaked through our feet, which is how it should be, let's talk about someone who's actually buried here. A huge figure in more modern Israeli culture, if you like, which is Ilan Ramon.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about him. Who was he?
Yeah, so he was Israel's first astronaut.
Right.
He also was involved in the attack on the Osirak nuclear reactor in Iraq back in 1981. He was the youngest pilot in that, which means he was also the last one in one most dangerous position.
I see.
But he was a fighter pilot, and he went on to be an astronaut.
On the Columbia space mission.
Yeah, and tragically he died when the Columbia space shuttle blew up on
re-entry. Yeah.
And he actually is buried here. And you can say, well, what
yeah, why is he buried here? Exactly.
He's not from here.
No.
Okay. His wife actually taught here at the school.
Oh, really?
And he, when he was a pilot, he was stationed at Ramat Daviv, the air base that's right near here. Okay.
I see.
And so when Roland and his wife were looking for a place to bury him, a friend of hers from Nahalal said, why don't you ask permission to bury him in the Nahalal cemetery? And she said, okay, it's a nice place. It's where, we spent some time. We'll do it. But there's another piece to it, which is the location of the cemetery is such that any fighter pilot or any plane that's coming in for a landing at Ramat Daviv goes right over there. So basically, she says that
everyone's saluting.
He's saluting, and he's accompanying all the fighter pilots back to ground safely.
Very nice.
So,
unfortunately, tragically, they lost their son in an Air Force accident as well. He also went on to be a pilot, and he was also killed in a training drill.
Right.
Very tragically.
So we're getting here, if you notice, to the place called the moshav.
And what's a culture?
So it's a little a forest or grove,
Yeah.
really. But you notice there's a little mound here.
I do see it.
It's an ancient tell, actually.
I see.
They
We do
haven't-
love our tells.
Yes, they haven't really excavated it much, but they
Okay.
know because of the surface evidence they found.
Right.
So there is some ancient culture that was here.
So there always was ancient civilization right here.
Yep, right, we have a
Brilliant.
tell. And we're gonna see in a moment this whole grove of trees.
Yes.
Which was planted solely by the delegations from Ann Arbor. that
Oh, I
came here.
see.
There was nothing around here. And they decided, hey, you know, we want something that we can do there's a physical reminder of this partnership here.
Right.
And so that's what they started doing. The first trees were planted on moshav, but quickly they ran out of room. And so they came out here, which is where the reservoir is,
Right,
and
I
they
see.
planted this whole grove of trees there. And it just keeps growing and growing. This is like 25 years of partnership right here.
That's fabulous. I love that. That's brilliant. And as we're running down the tell towards the water and this beautiful trees that Ann Arbor planted, we're
And
gonna
look who's
meet
here to greet us here.
a couple of people that you guys might know.
There we go. Hello, hello. Todava.
My name is from Nahalal, and I want to say hello to all the community in Arbor. And I'm so happy that we take a picture in this magnificent place that and all the trees that you see all over, it's all the trees that people from Arbor plant here in Nahalal, in the land of Israel. So hello and good luck.
Hi everyone, my name is Yair Hamel from Nahalal. Very happy to send you hello from Nahalal, all our family in Arbor.
Hi, I'm Tuti the cowboy. You all saw my dairy farm with the robots. I've been in the last delegation from Nahalal to Ann Arbor. Wish you happy days.
Hi, I'm Dorit. I'm from the start. I send you all my best to you, Eva and Lisa and Hillary and all over Eileen, of course, and Jessica. All the names that we are family with. We are such good connections. I hope we'll continue. We'll get to meet you next year. See you.
Hi, dear friends in Ann Arbor. I'm Ruti, and I'm so excited to send you all our greetings and to mention you that Nahalal is your home in Israel.
Yay!
Okay, Michael, that was a 6-kilometer run around Nahalal in the agricultural lots, outside, into the trees planting. We saw cows, we saw robots, we saw old weapons caches, we saw
People.
horses, we saw people, we heard the stories, we met the communities, and we really found out what this place is about is the community.
Lovely place. I love this place. I would love to come back here anytime.
Gladly.
And I understand why the people from Ann Arbor keep coming back here.
Absolutely.
It's really amazing gem here. Thanks for joining us, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Check us out on
and-
Facebook.
And we'll see you next time.
Running around Jerusalem, guys.
Have a good one.